Ladies and gentlemen and vault dwellers, my name is Josh, and while I am normally just a fantasy horror author, occasionally I do content articles for websites, including gamersdecide.com, where I have a series of Fallout 76 themed articles on gameplay guides and the like. For an upcoming article, I am doing an expose of sorts on the various types of power armor you can find in Fallout 76. There are 11 different types currently in the game as of February 2024. And here's a list of them. This first type is not an actual power armor type, as it is the base power armor. This is the power armor chassis. You cannot craft it, you have to find it. It can typically be found in power armor frames located throughout Appalachia with red rockets or here's the thing. I'm a West Virginia native. Sometimes I call it Appalachia, sometimes I call it Appalachia. Don't blame me. I have lived here my whole life. Regardless, you can find it at Brotherhood of Steel bases. You can find it at military encampments. You can find it in some raider bases and just scattered throughout the world. But you do need this before you can put on any power armor whatsoever. Starting with our first armor, and that's going to be the Raider armor. Um, Raider Armor T45, T51, and T60 is a little weird because you cannot find crafting plans for it naturally in the world. You have to find the actual armor pieces scattered somewhere and then scrap and break them down. And this is where I'm going to say it's really weird because after 667 some odd levels, I'm still missing the left arm for this armor. I'm sorry, it doesn't usually look like this. It looks like the right arm. Don't know what to tell you, other than I now have a thing to do. Go through low-level raider camps, I guess. But there you have it. And all of the stats, all the information can be found on my Gamer Society article. I will link it when it's ready to go. And again, that is Raider Power Armor. Coming up next at number 10 on the list is the T45. And we'll scroll down to that. If you happen to notice the stats in my inventory, please don't focus on them. I crafted almost all these armors at the lowest level possible, level 10, level 50 for a couple, level 30 for one or two. Just saving myself resources. So these stats aren't right, and I based all of my stats on my articles and the rankings for these based on a few different factors, but level 10 stats are not one of them. Take a look. This is the T45 armor. Again, this one can be found throughout the cranberry bog, throughout the mire, throughout occasionally the ash heap, and sometimes you can find these armor parts in expeditions like the pit. Foundry has several different piles of power armor scattered about that you have to harvest, loot, whatever, then scrap before you can learn the plans. The mods for these can all be found at the Watoga vendor spot, not the rail station, but the Watoga shopping center, and down in the White Springs Mall once you get those two areas available and unlocked. Again, this is our T45 power armor at number 10. Coming up next, we're going to have the T51B armor, which is not very different in all honesty. It is, however, a little greener. Lore-wise, this was used heavily by the United States Army. And take a peek. Basic armor without jetpacks equipped. T51, again, this one can also be found around the Cranberry Bog area, around the Brotherhood of Steel camps, around U.S. Army bases. And like the others, has to be broken down before you can learn the plans. And like the others, available in the Watoga Shopping Center or the Watoga Refuge Shopping Mall area for the modifications, which you do need. I mean, just having the base power armor is cool, but they don't start getting powerful until you have them modified. Speaking of modifications, coming up next on our list is going to be the T60 armor. This one looks pretty familiar. You'll see it a lot in a lot of the Fallout advertisements and graphics and videos. It's got that iconic... I always feel like it's a squid-like helm, gear-like helm, especially around the mouthpiece. And just the same as the others, you find it around the cranberry bog, the mire, lower parts of Appalachia, and the plans have to be learned from scrapping them. And once again, the mods can be found at the White Springs Shopping Mall and the Watoga Shopping Center. Next up on our list, though, is going to be the T65. Now, just as a note, while I said do ignore the stats as I am listing them, this is the first armor that's actually really worth anything, and the first armor that I would even be worried about picking up. It's not as good as some of the others, but this is a very solid piece. In fact, the DR and the ER is one of the best in the game, which is strange, I know, for me to call it 7, but the other suits coming up either have really cheap and easy availability to get or have set bonuses to them. But this thing just looks like a straight up menace. The face on it reminds me of the Atlas battle mech from the MechWarrior series. Straight up, pretty hardcore. Now, the problem with this armor is that it does take gold, bullion, and treasury notes to learn the plans and the mods for, and that can be quite expensive. Without buying them from Minerva, when she has them rarely on sale, you're looking at 6,900 gold bullion just for the plans for the parts. So keep that in mind. That's why it's actually number 7, despite having a better DR, ER, and radiation resistance attached to it. Again, this is the T65 armor. The next one down the line is number 6, and it's number 6 only because of the extra set bonus. I'm not actually a huge fan because unless you're a high level and you've played forever and you're bored, farming the parts for this is a little annoying. Welcome to the Strangler power armor, which is creepy. It is vine encrusted. It is just terrifying. The reason why this thing is worthwhile, if you can call it that, is that it does add poison damage to your weapons. Weapons only if you're unarmed, which you will almost never be. This will apply 30 poison damage over 30 seconds and provides an extra 4 poison damage per second to nearby targets. So if something's near you, it's going to hurt them with poison damage. If you hit something, it's going to give them poison damage over time. That itself is pretty freaking useful. The downside of this, and it is pretty notable, is not only do you have to have legendary modules to build this, you do have to have Vault Steel. And Vault Steel has to be bought with legendary scripts. So it's just an added step. Plus, it's also gold bullion, another 6,900 plus the cost of whatever mods you get. So is it better? Is it worse? It's not my cup of tea. And honestly, I personally think it's ugly as hell, and I do enough damage without it. All right, coming up at number 5, though, is one of the easiest power armors in the world to get as of February 2024. This is the Ultracite suit, and you may be going, Josh, it's a level 50 base armor. Why are you saying it's easy? Because it's everywhere. Ultracite armor and the mods drop from the Scorch Beast Queen, which is the original endgame boss in Fallout 76. And this game's been out for literally years. So everybody has this. And if you get a good Scorch Beast Queen fight, you're looking at, 5 to 15 people, all of who are getting plans at the same time. I actually can't sell these anymore. I have the base armor plans on my vendor for like 5 caps each. So it takes next to no time to buy this up and to get it, and then to have one of the best all-around armors in the game. It has no set bonuses, but when it's that cheap, when it's this powerful, when it's this strong, with a level 50 damage resistance at 453 and energy and radiation resistance at a base of 393, I mean, if you can get the parts for 5 caps each, then it's just a matter of scavenging the materials from the world, and you're set. You're set for literal endgame armor. And this is Ultracite. It's got a pretty solid look to it. Alright, coming up next is an armor you will find before Ultracite if you go by straight progression, and it itself is pretty freaking awesome. It swaps the DR and the ERR from Ultracite with a DR base of 398 and an energy resistance and radiation resistance of 453. This is the X01 prototype power armor, and I keep forgetting the prototype part, which is why I can never find it. It is a bit weirdly yellow, but okay. Now this thing is a honka burning something. You look like a walking missile silo. Or a bee, a very angry bee. And this is the prototype X01 power armor. The plans for this are 100% free. You gain them naturally as you progress through the main quest. You do not have to buy them. You do have to buy the mods, but the mods are relatively cheap. The downside is you have to get through the main quest all the way up to the Enclave set before you can get this, and the Enclave is more or less the last part of it. Once you have the Enclave bunker unlocked, you've got very little left to do. However, free plans, you get them as you progress, and you get a very strong suit of power armor. And this is why it's number 4. No set bonus, but that makes it super powerful, in my humble opinion. Despite the fact that you've got shoulders that would do a Space Marine broad. Next up at number 3 is going to be the Hellcat armor. Like the X01, the plans for this are 100% free. You get them upon completion from the Brotherhood of Steel quest line. As you can see, this thing is beastly. You look positively murderous in this thing. Hello, Mr. Cylon. With this armor, the big boost to it is not the DR or their resistances, 436 at level 50 and 320 for energy and radiation. It offers a base 12% ballistic damage reduction on top of the base 42% that power armor gives you in general. So bullets don't hurt you as bad. That's a pretty big thing in a wasteland where about more than half of the population is probably trying to shoot you. That's everything from Scorch to super mutants to robots to raiders, even the Overgrown and the IRS over in Atlantic City, or the Fanatics over in the pit. This decreases their damage output by 12% base. Doesn't protect, doesn't offer that bonus against melee attacks or biting attacks or whatever else, but it's a big step. And again, the plans are free. The mods are available in Vault 79 for Gold Bullion or Minerva. So you are looking at spending your Gold Bullion and your Treasury Notes. So the mods can be a little bit of a farm, but it's not that bad. And that's why it's number 3 on the list. Number 2, though, is an armor you get early on. In fact, odds are good, it's the armor that you'll get after you first encounter Raider armor, and that would be Excavator. And you'll have to forgive me, I actually have mods on my Excavator, so it's not named quite right. Looking for it. We are looking for the Excavator armor. Here we go, calibrated. Alright, with Excavator armor, you've got this lovely yellow look. You got that weird-ass duck mouth bill gas mask thing, and that's about it. Big problem with this one, this has the weakest damage resistance of all power armor, and that includes Raider. The energy is 240, also really weak, and the radiation is 366, so that's not the worst. Why is this armor so good, though? It's all about the set bonuses. Let's expect this. Set bonus, you get an extra 100 carry weight if you have calibrated shocks on this. Mods available in the White Spring Refuge. The White Spring Mall underneath the Refuge. You get plus 50 carry weight. Some radiation damage resistance, and the set bonus. Not only is it that 100 carry weight, it also grants an unstated bonus that it will allow you to harvest 4 times as much resources on any given node, mining node specifically. So if you go into Lucky Hole Mine and you approach a lead vein, instead of getting 2 pieces per click, you might get 8 pieces. And if you're new and early to the game and if you're having trouble getting the base requirements for ammunition, this solves that problem. Straight up. It's something that's really hard to argue with. I know a lot of people who wear this and nothing but this. They don't do power armor very often, but they're very happy with it. And finally, after seeing the excavator armor, which you can get in the ash heap if you go to Graham Mining Headquarters, you have a small quest line to complete and you get this lovely set. Finally, though, very finally, would be my favorite power armor in the game. Now, this is pretty weak on the surface, and you're going to have to bear with me. I actually have to exit the armor, and we're going to hope for the best here. Follow's making me crash all morning with it. This is going to be the Union power armor as soon as I can dig it out. Union power armor is a bit of an oddity. The DR is 485, the ER is really low at 295, and the radiation armor is 265, radiation resistance. So, stacking up wise, it's not as good as the T65. You know, it's somewhere above the T60, somewhere around Raider for some of the resistances. Look is pretty kind of cool, if you ask me. I love this with a Nuka-Cola paint, just so you know. What makes the Union Power armor so blessedly special is not the look, and it's not the DR, it's the set bonus. You get a straight 75 carry weight, and then you get 150 poison resist. Ignore the rest of these. These are the mods I have on it. That 150 poison resistance is a lie. It is a lie. What it is poison immunity. Why is this important? Because if you have a daily op or a mutated event where you are facing off against the poison cloud mutation, this is the one where you kill something and then it erupts in a cloud of gaseous poison. Normally it will tear through your health, it will reduce your health to next to nothing in a hurry, especially if 2 or 3 of them die all around you at once, or you have to walk through a bunch of them, or you're fighting acidic gulpers. Guess what? This renders that entire problem 100% immune. You do not have an issue. You can stand in a crowd of 50 of them, kill them all, and take no health damage from the poison gas. It completely mitigates one of the worst mutations and biggest region hazards in the game. Combine that with the default resistances, combine that with the default radiation resistance, combine that with the default immunity to airborne and waterborne disease, add in poison resistance immunity, and you've got an outstanding piece of armor. The downside is if you didn't complete the scoreboard at Season 10, you don't have this. And in order to get it, you have to farm a lot of stamps because at current, it's only available on Gillespie della Ripa. I'm butchering that, I'm so sorry. At the White Springs Refuge, and it takes around 800 stamps per piece for 6 pieces. You do the math. It sucks. At best, you get 20 stamps a run. At best, and sometimes it varies. You can get 1 free piece of random plans every time you complete an expedition, so may not take as long as it may sound. But if you didn't get it at Season 10, and you haven't gotten it yet, it is a grind. That grind is a very strong argument for saying it's not worth the effort. It's totally up to you. If you have it, wear it. If you don't have it, it's something to work towards. If you don't have it, wear your Ultracite, wear your T65, wear the Hellcat, wear the ones you get for free. But if you do have it, it's so worth it just for that mitigation purpose alone. Anyways, my name is Joshua Smith. Thank you very much for listening to me. And I know a YouTuber that uses his real name and advertises it. Hey, my name is my brand. What can I say? And when you have a name as common as mine, you have to brand it as much as possible. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you like the looks and styles. And speaking of looks and styles, do not forget, as you complete the scoreboards, you get new paints free every season. And they put new paints for sale every week on the Atom Shop. So if you don't like the looks of one of these, you can always spiffy it up a little bit with either some atoms or just some good old-fashioned luck. Have a wonderful day. Be careful out there, and welcome to the wasteland.